We tend to be very traditional, and I'm trying to encourage my faculty staff to take risks and collaborate with one another more. We're trying to always push the limits and see how we can do things better.
Educators want to prepare their students for success in college, careers, and everyday life. But with tight schedules and budgets, they have to find clever and resourceful ways to do more with less. Educators all over the map are coming up with creative approaches to repurpose existing resources and give all their students opportunities for deeper learning. We call these school hacks. Without spending millions of dollars on new facilities or major renovations, how can school leaders transform their physical space to advance their learning goals? We're at East Greenwich High School in Rhode Island, where Principal Mike Podraza is working to create a culture of collaboration and experimentation. To achieve this, he's beginning by creating this space and culture for his leadership team.
One of our core values is relevance, and in the definition, that's calling for more interdepartmental collaboration. All of the leadership wants to collaborate more. However, things like bells, schedules, different office spaces have all been getting in the way. What if we were able to remove some of those barriers to collaboration that we put on ourselves?
In order to set East Greenwich High School's experiment up for success, we've brought in experience designers from BIF Student Experience Lab who are experts at empowering students and educators in making positive changes in their school. The BIF experience designers will help the leaders at East Greenwich High School redesign this classroom and turn it into a collaborative workspace.
We want everyone's voice to be heard. This is your process. You are the ones that are going to lead this vision and create it and experiment with it. And we're just here to help you experiment and facilitate that conversation and navigate that process.
Yes, and we could add other things beyond.
I think this opportunity is going to provide that experience for me to collaborate with my colleagues. We're all in this together, trying to make this place a better learning environment for the students.
Well, I think ultimately we're trying to move away from the idea of departmentalization and to talk about how do you educate kids for the 21st century in a real way. And that involves a lot more critical thinking and problem solving, but also interdisciplinary learning.
With this experiment, we're also trying to collaborate more, but at the same time take risks so that others feel empowered to do so.
We're taking people out of a comfortable private space that they're used to working in and putting them into a much more public environment that is probably going to be pretty bare bones because we're not going to put a lot of resources into this since we're only going to be there for a month.
Swapping out student desks for unused lab tables, the group turned the classroom into a shared co-working space in a matter of hours. Using resources already in the school, they were able to transition the room at practically no cost. At the end of the month, had the space encouraged collaboration?
One of the most positive takeaways from the initial brainstorming session was the yes and activity, and it has carried throughout the school outside of the collab lab, in which we inject the small phrase yes and into our conversations to remind ourselves to be more positive about the solution to the problem or issue that we're having.
Having named this space the Collab Lab, the leadership team met here daily during their free periods. But they also realized that something was missing.
So in week one, it was about getting used to each other, getting used to the space. And then in week two, we knew we had something, but we knew that we needed to expand it. We knew that to make it great, we had to involve everybody, or at least attempt to.
So 2 weeks into the collab lab, we recognized that it wasn't working the way that we had intended it to. So we opened it up to the teachers and the rest of the school in hopes that it would start to foster some really creative conversations about curriculum and interdisciplinary projects or even school issues.
Our first week in the collab lab, I met up with another English teacher, and we both have been using 3x5 index cards for the research paper. And then we started to talk about digitally, and we started to create a digital system for the note cards. And now that we're doing this, I can see a lot more of my kids are handing stuff in on time because it's a lot less time consuming for them, and they're actually accessing their Chromebooks in a way they haven't before.
So what I've learned so far is that you can provide a space and people will come and have conversations with one another, but we need to provide them the tools that they need to continue doing amazing things with one another that ultimately benefit our students. And that's what we're going to do.
The Collab Lab gave the leadership team a quick, cheap, and low-risk way to experiment with building a culture of collaboration. With the help of outside facilitators, they began by developing a shared definition of collaboration and learning new ways to build on each other's ideas. They learned from what worked and what didn't work, resulting in fresh ideas for encouraging meaningful, interdisciplinary interactions throughout the school community.